They threw me out, 7 months pregnant, and my husband's family threw me out like garbage. Why? Because his mistress was also pregnant. I went to my billionaire father, broken and desperate. I begged him not to take revenge because I still loved my husband. But when she slapped me in that hospital, everything changed. Before this story unfolds, hit subscribe and ring that bell, because what you're about to hear will shock you to your core. This isn't just about revenge. This is about a father's love and a woman's heartbreak. Stay until the end, because the twist will leave you speechless. Now let me tell you how my perfect life became a nightmare. My name is Amora, and 3 years ago, I thought I had found my forever. His name was Adrian, tall, charming, with eyes that seemed to promise me the world. We met at a charity event, and within 6 months, we were married. It was a simple wedding, nothing extravagant. I never told him about my family's wealth. My father, Lawrence Sterling, is one of the most powerful billionaires in the country, but I wanted Adrian to love me for who I was, not for what my last name could give him. And for a while, it was perfect. Adrian worked as an architect, building his career, and I supported him every way I could. We lived in a beautiful house that his family helped us get, and I was genuinely happy. His mother, Catherine, was always a bit cold toward me. She would make little comments about how I dressed, how I spoke, how I wasn't quite sophisticated enough for her son. Adrian's father, William, never said much. He just went along with whatever Catherine decided. And then there was Adrian's sister, Melissa, who made it clear from day one that she thought her brother had married beneath him. But I ignored it all. I loved Adrian, and I believed that love would be enough. Then, 7 months ago, I found out I was pregnant. I was so excited. I imagined Adrian's face when I told him, imagined us preparing the nursery together, imagined our life as a family. But something changed after that. Adrian became distant. He started coming home late. His phone was always face down on the table, and whenever I tried to talk to him about the baby, he would find an excuse to leave the room. I told myself it was just stress. Maybe he was nervous about becoming a father. Maybe work was overwhelming him. I made excuses for him because I didn't want to face the truth that was right in front of me. 3 months into my pregnancy, I started noticing a name that kept appearing on his phone: Vanessa. She worked in his company in the marketing department. Whenever I asked about her, Adrian would brush it off. "She's just a colleague," he'd say. "Nothing to worry about." But I was worrying, because the way he said her name, the way his expression softened when he read her messages, it wasn't nothing. Then came the day that changed everything. I was 7 months pregnant, my belly round and heavy, and I found a pregnancy test in Adrian's car. It wasn't mine. My hands shook as I held it, staring at those 2 pink lines that weren't meant for me. I drove home with my heart pounding so hard I thought it would break through my chest. When I walked into the house, I knew immediately that something was wrong. Adrian was there. His entire family was there. Catherine, William, Melissa, all sitting in the living room like they were waiting for me. I held up the pregnancy test. "What is this?" Catherine stood up, and I'll never forget the look on her face. It was triumph, pure, cold triumph. "Yes," she said, "Vanessa is pregnant, with Adrian's child." The room started spinning. I looked at Adrian, waiting for him to deny it, to tell me his mother was lying, to do something, but he just sat there, looking at the floor. "Adrian?" My voice came out as a whisper. Catherine continued, her voice sharp and cutting. "Vanessa comes from a respectable family. She's educated, elegant, everything you're not. We should have never allowed this marriage in the first place." William nodded. "You trapped our son with this pregnancy, but now he has a real heir coming." Melissa actually smiled. "Pack your bags, Amora. This house doesn't need 2 pregnant women, and you're definitely not the one we're choosing." I couldn't breathe. I turned to Adrian, my husband, the man I loved, the father of my child. "Please," I begged, "tell me this isn't true. Tell me we can fix this." He finally looked at me, and what I saw in his eyes broke me completely. Guilt, shame, but not love. Not anymore. "I'm sorry," he whispered. That was all he said. Just, "I'm sorry." Catherine grabbed my arm. "Get out, now. But I'm pregnant. Where am I supposed to go?" "That's not our problem anymore." They literally pushed me toward the door. Melissa went upstairs and came back with a suitcase, my suitcase, already packed. They'd been planning this. They threw it onto the front lawn, and when I stumbled after it, they locked the door behind me. I stood there in the rain that had just started falling, 7 months pregnant, watching the neighbors peek through their curtains at my humiliation. I had never felt so alone in my entire life. There was only one place left to go. My father's mansion looked like a palace compared to the house I'd just been thrown out of. I hadn't been here in 8 months. Adrian always felt uncomfortable around my father's wealth, so I'd kept my distance to make him happy. Another sacrifice I'd made for a man who didn't deserve it. The taxi dropped me off at the gate, and I stood there in the rain, drenched and sobbing, until the security recognized me and opened it. By the time I reached the front door, my father was already there. Lawrence Sterling is not a man who shows emotion easily. He built an empire from nothing, and he did it by being tough, calculated, and strategic. But when he saw me standing there, his daughter, pregnant and broken, something shifted in his eyes. "Amora?" He pulled me inside. "What happened? Where's Adrian?" I collapsed into his arms and told him everything, every horrible detail, and I watched my father's face transform from concern to something I'd never seen before, pure, controlled rage. "I will destroy them," he said quietly. "Every single one of them." I grabbed his hand. "Papa, please, no. I still love him. Maybe we can talk to him, make him understand." "He threw you out! You're carrying his child!" "He's confused. Vanessa manipulated him. Please, Papa, give me time to fix this." My father stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language, but he finally nodded. "1 week. If he doesn't come to his senses, I will end them." He arranged for the best doctors and admitted me to Sterling Memorial Hospital, the hospital he owned, though I didn't realize how important that detail would become. I was having stress-related complications, and the doctors wanted to monitor me closely. I stayed in a beautiful private suite and spent my days texting Adrian messages he never answered. "Please talk to me. I'm in the hospital. Our baby needs you." Red receipts showed he saw every single one. He just didn't care enough to respond. It was on my 3rd day in the hospital that everything exploded. I was feeling a bit better, and the doctor had recommended light walking to help with circulation. My father had gone down to the ground floor pharmacy to get some special supplements for me. I decided to take a walk through the corridor, maybe get some fresh air in the garden area. That's when I saw him. Adrian was standing at a nurse's station looking stressed and worried. My heart leaped. He was here. Maybe he'd come looking for me. Maybe he'd realized his mistake. "Adrian!" He turned, and the look on his face wasn't relief. It was horror. Before I could process what that meant, they appeared. Catherine, William, and Melissa emerged from a nearby room. And then I saw her, Vanessa, being wheeled out in a wheelchair, her pregnant belly visible under her red designer dress. My world tilted. "You followed us here?" Catherine's voice was sharp with accusation. "You're stalking my son?" "I didn't. I'm a patient here." Melissa laughed. "Look at her, so desperate. Have some self-respect." Vanessa stood up from the wheelchair. She could walk just fine. The wheelchair was for show, for sympathy. She looked at me with such smug satisfaction that I wanted to scream. "Oh," she said sweetly, "the first wife. Adrian told me about you." My eyes filled with tears. "Adrian, I'm carrying your baby. Doesn't that mean anything?" He opened his mouth to speak, but Catherine cut him off. "That baby means nothing. Vanessa's baby is the real heir." I stepped closer to Adrian, my voice breaking. "Please, we can work through this. I love you." The slap came out of nowhere. Vanessa's hand connected with my face so hard that the sound echoed through the entire corridor. Nurses froze. Visitors stopped walking. Everyone stared. I stumbled backward, my hand flying to my cheek, my eyes wide with shock. The pain was sharp and hot, spreading across my face. "Stay away from my husband!" Vanessa screamed. "He's mine now!" I looked at Adrian, waiting for him to defend me, to do something. But he just looked down at his shoes. His family actually smiled. Catherine nodded approvingly. Good. She needed that. Melissa clapped mockingly. Something inside me shattered, not just my heart, my entire understanding of the man I'd married. "You're going to let her do this?" I whispered. Adrian said nothing. Vanessa stepped closer, her face twisted with rage. "You pathetic, desperate woman. You're fat, ugly, and worthless." "Please," I whispered. "My baby." She raised her hand again, and I knew what was coming but couldn't move fast enough. The second slap was even harder. I fell to my knees, clutching my belly, feeling blood drip from my nose. Nurses rushed forward, their voices urgent and panicked. And then I heard it, the voice that made everyone freeze. "What did you just do?" I looked up through my tears and saw my father standing there. He must have just come up in the elevator. His face was completely expressionless, which made him more terrifying than if he'd been screaming. Hospital staff immediately recognized him. "Mr. Sterling!" They rushed over. The chief of hospital appeared out of nowhere. "Sir, we didn't know your daughter was—" My father ignored everyone. He walked straight to me and knelt down. "Baby, I'm here." "Papa." I was sobbing. She hit me. The baby. Doctors materialized and rushed me toward the emergency room. As they wheeled me away, I heard my father's voice, quiet and deadly calm. "Security. Get their names. All of them. Every single person who stood here and watched." They stabilized me and the baby, but the damage was done. My face was bruised and swollen. The baby was showing signs of stress. The doctors said I might need to deliver early, but the physical pain was nothing compared to what I felt inside. My father sat beside my hospital bed, holding my hand. I'd never seen him look so old, so tired. "I'm going to destroy them," he said quietly. "Papa, you promised—" "They hit you, Amora. She could have killed my grandchild. I still love him." My father's jaw clenched so hard I could see the muscle working. "Then I'll make sure he learns what love actually means." Over the next 24 hours, my father made phone calls. I didn't know all the details then, but I learned later what he discovered. Adrian's company was 60% funded by loans from banks associated with Sterling Holdings. Catherine's jewelry business operated in Sterling-owned mall spaces. William's investment portfolio was heavily dependent on Sterling properties. Melissa's boutique rented from Sterling commercial properties. And Vanessa's father? He was a mid-level contractor with 3 ongoing projects, all on Sterling-owned land. My father owned their entire lives, and they didn't even know it. The next morning, it all came crashing down. Adrian received calls that his bank loans were being called in, full payment due in 72 hours. Catherine got lease termination notices. William's investments tanked. Melissa received an eviction notice. Vanessa's father watched his construction projects halt overnight. But my father didn't stop there. The hospital's CCTV footage mysteriously leaked to the media. Within hours, the video went viral. Billionaire's pregnant daughter assaulted in hospital. Adrian's face, Vanessa's face, the whole family, plastered everywhere. The comments were brutal. They threw out a pregnant woman? That man stood there while his wife was beaten? Disgusting cowards. Adrian's professional reputation was destroyed overnight. No one wanted to work with the man who abandoned his pregnant wife. Catherine's jewelry business lost all its clients. William lost 80% of his net worth. Melissa's boutique shut down completely. Vanessa's father went bankrupt and had to leave the city in shame. Vanessa was dropped by all her friends. Her social media accounts flooded with hate. Within 1 month, they lost everything. Adrian tried to reach me. He came to my father's mansion and waited outside for hours. My father finally went out to speak with him. I watched from the window as Adrian begged. I couldn't hear the words, but I could see his desperation. My father came back inside. He wants to apologize. What did you tell him? That he had months to choose and he chose them. Now he has to live with it. 2 months passed. I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Holding her for the first time, I realized something important. I didn't need Adrian to be happy. I had my daughter, I had my father, I had myself. That's when the real twist came. Vanessa's pregnancy had complications, and they needed to run a DNA test for medical reasons. The results came back, and the truth exploded like a bomb. The baby wasn't Adrian's. Vanessa had been sleeping with her ex-boyfriend the entire time. She'd trapped Adrian because she'd overheard someone at a party mention that I came from money. The whole thing had been a con, and Adrian's family had destroyed their own lives for a lie. When Adrian found out, he showed up at my father's mansion with his entire family. They were barely recognizable, humbled, broken, desperate. My father didn't want to let them in, but I agreed to see them, on my terms. We met in the formal sitting room. Catherine was crying. William looked 20 years older. Melissa couldn't even look at me. Adrian saw me holding our daughter, and tears started streaming down his face. "She's beautiful," he whispered. "Our daughter." "My daughter," I corrected him quietly. Catherine fell to her knees. "Please, Amora. We were wrong. We destroyed everything for a woman who was lying to us." I looked at each of them. "You threw me out like garbage, pregnant, in the rain. Your mother said I wasn't good enough. Your sister laughed at me. Vanessa slapped me twice, and you—" I looked at Adrian. "You stood there and did nothing." "I was wrong," Adrian sobbed. "I was so wrong. Please, give me another chance. I'll spend the rest of my life making this right." I felt my father tense beside me, but I put my hand on his arm. "You had your chance," I said softly. "Every day of our marriage was a chance. You chose them over me, over our child. Not because you loved Vanessa, but because you were too weak to stand up to your family. I love you." "No, you don't. You love the idea of fixing your mistake. There's a difference." I turned to my father. "Papa, stop the financial destruction." He looked at me in shock. "What?" "Let them rebuild their lives, somewhere else." He started to protest, but I shook my head. "They've lost enough. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about knowing when to walk away." That was 6 months ago. Adrian sends me a letter every month. He never asks to come back. He just apologizes, tells me about the therapy he's in, the work he's doing to become a better person. I don't reply, but I keep the letters. Maybe one day I'll show them to our daughter so she knows that people can change, even if it's too late. Catherine opened a small business in another city. Last I heard, she's actually happy. Humbled, but happy. William works a regular job now. Melissa learned empathy the hard way and volunteers at a women's shelter. Vanessa disappeared. No one knows where she went. And honestly, I don't care. As for me, I'm thriving. I work in my father's company now, and I'm good at it. My daughter is healthy and happy. I wake up every morning grateful for the life I have. My father asked me once if I regret any of it. "I regret loving someone who didn't value me," I told him, "but I don't regret learning my worth." He smiled. "I'm proud of you, for stopping me from going too far and for knowing when to walk away. You taught me that power isn't about destruction, Papa. It's about knowing when to use it." The slap that was supposed to break me? It set me free. It showed me who people really were when the masks came off. It taught me that love without respect is just a pretty word that means nothing. And most importantly, it taught me that I didn't need anyone to complete me. I was already whole. And that's how a single slap changed everything. Not just for me, but for everyone involved. My father's revenge wasn't just about destroying them, it was about teaching a lesson that consequences are real, but the real power was me choosing to walk away with my dignity intact. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories of justice and redemption. Comment below, was I right to stop my father's revenge, or should he have gone further? I read every comment. Thank you for watching, and remember, know your worth. Never let anyone make you feel small. I'll see you in the next one.